All right, greetings and welcome to the Eccentric Perspective. I am your host, Blake Wally. Sorry, I'm starting a little bit late today. It's been a busy afternoon, busy week, but I couldn't wait to just commentate on this crazy war we have going on. Plenty of drama, lots to unpack, and it was really challenging to organize all of it. So I'm at a different time, but I got to get it in now or never. So if you found me, cool. If not, maybe you can catch the replay. Either way, I need to put this content out and throw my opinions out into the ether and see if see if it makes any difference. But why not? So here I am, where I will be here for the next 60 to 90 minutes, covering the latest news and current events. And man, yes, I suppose it's a banger of a show with all of the craziness. So why don't we, here's the thumbnail for today. Got to war or not. What should MAGA do? As we also have a great divide potentially, as there's going to be a big breakup within MAGA versus for those that want to go to war or those who want to refrain and stay out of it. So we shall see which side, who's going to pass the purity test. So who is the real MAGA? So is it stop with Trump, or is it up to us? I guess people have their opinions on that too. Let's take a look at the headlines. Here we have what's on topic. We got, should we assist Israel in its battle against Iran and its mass murder of citizens? Is that the Iranian game plan? And it should be easy to create regime change in Iran. How about further war escalation? Will it divide MAGA in pieces? And MAGA and America First, are they just whatever Trump says? And finally, one that's off topic, the Communist Chinese, did they interfere with the 2020 election? So that's what's on tap. And of course, if you guys want to get involved, share an opinion, share a story, or whatever you want, we'll incorporate your thoughts into the show and take it from there. So why don't we run an intro? I'll be back on the other side, and we'll get this broadcast kicked off officially. So here we go. Welcome in. Okay, so it begins. Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. Perhaps, I don't know, a day of infamy, one that everyone will remember forever. Scholars will be discussing playing Monday morning quarterback for thousands of years based on this week, this day, maybe. But yeah, things are heating up in the Middle East. Looks like Trump is escalating with Iran, saying unconditional surrender. So that could change things up in a hurry. And let's see, and welcome in TK Mark, 37 trillion in debt, tens of thousands of veterans with destroyed bodies and brains built on lies. Bring every troop home. Have them based in America. It's a good idea in theory. We shouldn't be able to afford anything, but sometimes when the economy is bad, that's what they need to do. when all else fails, as Gerald Salente says, they take you to war as the big distraction. And yeah, we've had plenty of soldiers killed needlessly over the years. Plenty of people had their lives stolen. Just say in Vietnam, at least World War II, seemed to be like a bad guy. We were the good guys. It was a noble cause, but yeah, not so much for the rest. It's pretty horrific stuff. So we'll see how that all develops. As things could be changing any minute as I'm speaking. We're waiting to see is Trump going to create any offense there, or is it just this purely defensive? We're just backing our ally Israel, and we're not planning to get any further involved. But things could change in a hurry, especially if there's an attack on us, which is the concern. Because then it's also a matter of we've seen these scripts before, when most of these wars people did not want to support until there was some kind of an attack, whether it's the Lusitania or Pearl Harbor, the Gulf of Tonkin incident, and that sways public opinion. Hello, Bigfoot, Softwash. Good to see you too. I am doing well. It's just been a busy week. Running late today. Well, I had an appointment. I was in Nashville this afternoon. Had an appointment. I could not move, so needed some extra time. And there's just so much stuff. I haven't done a show since last Tuesday. And there's just so many things piling up. But hopefully, nothing is in perfect order. But we'll just we'll take it. We'll start somewhere. First of all, I don't know. I'm just going to start with one of my tweets. Actually, I think this is from this morning. Kind of how I sum up a little bit of how I feel about this fight here with Israel, which certainly had my sympathy on October 7th. That was a terrible attack. Not even going to get into the conspiracy stuff too much. We'll just say that they were blindsided. They were attacked by Hamas militants, and they killed hundreds, if not over 1,000 people. Don't know the exact numbers. And they say there were mass rapes and baby beheadings. I'm not buying that. You didn't have to try to sell me on it. You had my sympathy, but don't make up stuff. But again, I'm not staying out of the conspiracy theories. Did they let their guard down? Did they want the attack? We do know that they made up all this stuff with the beheaded babies and all that crap. Then what else? So yeah, they lied about the atrocities. They've lied about the U.S.'s liberty. They've lied about getting us into, with the WMDs in Iraq and Saddam. Then they killed 60,000 innocent civilians in Gaza. What else? Now they've preemptively attacked Iran because they were supposedly imminently on the verge of having a nuclear weapon. But they've been telling us that for 40 years, apparently. It's always, they're weeks away or they're a month away or something, and we've got to get involved. And it's always our problem, isn't it? So now Israel has attacked Iran, and now they expect us to have their back, even though I guess this was not supposed to happen. But maybe this is a desperate maneuver by Bibi Netanyahu to stay in power. I've always been very skeptical of that guy. But let's see, getting back here. Yeah, so if we want to talk about regime change, and that all sounds well and good, but can we start with Bibi? He seems to be the source of much of the problems. See, if there's anybody to pinpoint blame on in the Middle East who is always stirring shit up somewhere, it's got to be Bibi Netanyahu. I am tired of that guy. He should turn himself into the ICC. Doubt that's going to happen. But he might do something crazy. This is what I've always thought. He's going to do something stupid, and he's going to pull us into a war, and we are right on the edge right now. So let's take a couple of let's look at a couple stories. We got Trump confirming U.S. is in a war with Iran, threatens Khomeini with assassination. So he's announced we have taken complete and total control over the skies in Iran, and he threatened the Ayatollah Khomeini with assassination and demanded unconditional surrender. These are true announcements on Truth Social. He said Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment, but it doesn't compare to our American-made manufacturing. Good old USA. They know where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's an easy target, but he's safe. We're not going to take him out. At least, not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. And then in this last post, unconditional surrender in all capital letters. So that's not good. That's where I guess Mark Levin is quite happy to see that. There's him and Lindsey Graham and so many of these other chicken hawk neocons that just love getting the United States in any possible war that it can. These people are sick. I don't know what to get into. There's so many points. We've got Trump ordering Tehran to immediately evacuate, suggesting war with Iran is America first. I guess that is a source of contention as you're seeing the big divide now between MAGA and who controls it and what does it represent. And in fact, that's the thumbnail for me as well. What to war or not? What should MAGA do? What would real MAGA do? Make America great. Does that mean preemptively attacking Iran in case they might attack us or Israel on a supposed future date, assuming they can ever get this weapon done? And that they're immediately just going to fling it at Israel as soon as it's ready. Oh my God, they finally enriched enough uranium to make a missile, and now they're going to just wipe Israel off the face of the earth because they're just so evil. Perhaps. I don't want to be naive here. You never know. This is a fundamentalist, crazy regime. I don't like them either. But a lot of this is brought on from ourselves. We overthrew and started meddling with Iran along with Britain back in the day and installing the Shah, which backfired badly when they overthrew him and put in this cleric Khomeini. And it's been a source of problems ever since. So I don't know which is worse here, Iran or Israel. Pick a side. I'm not on either side. I'm on America's side. So we got another one. U.S. says it won't join war if Iran doesn't target Americans. Meanwhile, they're moving in a carrier strike group. And then they had all of these planes. These fueling planes that are on their way. So they are gearing up. It's not for training exercises. This is not a drill. So it is on and cracking. Now we'll just have to see, and hopefully things don't get too out of hand. But there is quite a lot of active bombing going on in both countries. Tehran and Tel Aviv. Let's see, and here he is. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says he understands America first, but he doesn't understand America dead. So is that sort of a threat? We have to get involved in his war. Otherwise, supposedly Iran's going to get rid of us somehow. So we're all going to die if we don't take out his opposition. But he's been saying this for a long time, and including with Saddam Hussein back in the day. And they didn't have WMDs. It was a big shit show. And if we had just gotten rid of Bibi a long time ago, maybe none of these things would be happening right now. Let's see. Probably should have gotten rid of him. Kept Saddam. If we could go back in time, we could. If we could choose, I think I'd rather keep Saddam and have Bibi get arrested. But that didn't happen. There's a divide amongst the threat levels that we have. Let's get DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, and President Trump. I guess they're on the same page now regarding their Iran nuclear weapon threat assessment. She said a few months ago in March that there didn't seem to be much of a problem, that they weren't building a nuclear weapon. And then early yesterday, I believe, on the Air Force One, President Trump told reporters he doesn't care what Tulsi Gabbard said about the U.S. intelligence community assessing that Iran was not building a nuclear weapon. He says, I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having one. He thinks, much like Bibi, they think. But again, we've been saying this stuff for 40 years. People tend to tune that out, but a lot of people just have a short-term memory. So many people on Twitter are just like, yeah, well, it must be true. Is it? That is the big question. And could they share some of this information, or is that all just top secret? And we're just supposed to trust me, bro. They were really doing it this time. Yeah, how many times are we going to fall for the same script? So here we go.
You've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon, but how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having it.
Okay, there you go. There you have it. Wasn't, oh yeah, we can confirm it. We just can't share some of the sensitive stuff, but we'll get back to you with that. No, just, well, I think we have it. Or did you just take Bibi's word for it? That is the big question. Gabbard breaking her silence after Trump publicly refutes her comments on Iran's nuclear program. Says that they're on the same page. That President Trump was saying the same thing that I said in my annual threat assessment back in March. Unfortunately, too many people in the media don't care to actually read what I said. So what does this mean? This is obliterating the media narrative that the IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program he suspended in 2003. That the IC is closely monitoring them. Don't know. I thought they were complying. There was allegedly peace talks. So, but there is a lot of confusion and perhaps faulty intelligence, just like the WMDs in Iraq. They'll find them eventually. So. These are how these conflicts start. They make these accusations and they go on a fishing expedition. Maybe they find it, maybe they don't. And if not, maybe they'll just make stuff up if they want to get the public to go along with it. Here is a meme from that. Again, these are all in no particular order. But yeah, if the clock was ticking, if this is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and you want to say to drag the U.S. into war with Iran, will you, I don't know, attack a U.S. ship, attack a U.S. base, assassinate a U.S. official, or conduct an act of terrorism on U.S. soil? In other words, a false flag operation to blame on your enemy. I was stuck on A and B, but since I was kind of thinking, if we've already had the Lusitania and the Gulf of Tonkin incident and the USS Liberty, those are all 3 boat attacks. So would they run that same script? I think the most obvious answer is that they would go after one of the numerous bases surrounding Iran, as they could all be vulnerable to attack. And if any of those bases gets hit, it doesn't matter if it's Israel or Iran. It's going to, all they want to do is cause the public to have an outcry. Oh my God, now we have to do something. Now we got to send in boots on the ground, spend trillions of dollars again, and get involved and take out and try to do another regime change like that's worked out in the past. Never. Track record is pretty bad there. Some people think this is a religious war. I disagree with that. You got Glenn Beck here. Spineless coward Glenn Beck saying, Heavenly Father, please protect Israel and her people, your chosen people. Forgive them and guide them as they strike at the head of the snake. We pray that you spare innocent lives and provide swift justice for those who forsake your name. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. I don't know. I don't understand the Christian conservative crowd. The chosen people, huh? I don't know if I believe that. Maybe in the biblical times, yeah. This is a much different country. The country of biblical Israel and the Hebrews, very different than the modern day Zionist occupiers. So I think I put this out hypothetically, but nobody's responded to this as many times as I've floated this out here. I guess what would you really think if Jesus actually came back and visited Israel? What would happen to him? Do you think that he would be embraced by Bibi and we'd all look for world peace and look to him for guidance? I think Bibi would have Jesus arrested and crucified again. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So I don't know why the Christians are just falling over themselves to prop up Bibi, and they worship Israel as their greatest ally. Why? What are they doing for us? I'm not against them. I don't care. They can do whatever they want. But if they want to start a war, they're on their own. And I don't think they look down on us. They just look at you. They use us constantly as their muscle. They take advantage of us. They blackmail our politicians. They bribe our politicians. And they're constantly meddling around in the Middle East. This was the worst idea that they came up. It was in a good cause, right? Let's give these poor Jews a homeland of their own after what the awful atrocities that happened during World War II. But then it's really ballooned into this beast. This has been a bad idea looking back. If we could go back in time, we're going to say, sorry, maybe we could put the homeland somewhere else, but not in biblical Israel. Because nothing good comes out of this at all. It is nothing but problems for what now? 80 years? It's enough. So let's move on. As far as the Israel First crowd, I got another tweet here talking about preparing for draft day. Here it is. At least 25 air tankers en route to Europe and the Middle East from the U.S. right now. Prepare for draft day. So I hope all the Israel First crowd gets to enlist if that's what you want. Feel free. I'm 47 with a hernia, so I will sit this conflict out. You guys are on your own. But anyway, that's how I would think that. If you vote for war and support it, then you should be out on the front lines doing something about it. Or putting your kids out there if you really believe in it that much. Okay. Also disappointing to see that Trump was even criticizing Tucker Carlson for not being on TV. Because Tucker is very concerned. There seems to be a conflict with the different pundits having a battle trying to control and influence Trump. So very interesting as you've got a reasonable person like Tucker Carlson seemingly trying to say, hey, maybe war isn't a good idea. This isn't what we voted for. Trying to stay out of more wars versus the Mark Levins, the Ben Shapiros, the Sean Hannitys, and that crowd who are going for war and seem to have the president's ear and have met with him. And even Trump turned on Tucker. Said, well, hey, let him get let him go get a television network and say it so that people listen, which is awful. I mean, Tucker lost his job for bringing out the truth. They wouldn't let him say his opinions on Fox anymore. Fox is like, as much as I like a lot of their stuff, especially compared to the crazy leftist thing, they are just cartoonishly one-sided on the topic of Israel. They never criticize that. It's no matter. They don't even mention the terrifying numbers of all of the civilians killed out there. They will just they were looking for censorship. They are just fully under the control and influence of any Israeli opinion. It is wild. So let's see. Yeah, it's so disappointing to see Trump turning on Tucker like that. I'd like to see more of a debate. Actually, you know what would be good and healthy is if we could organize something like that, like a Mark Levin versus Tucker Carlson, instead of the occasional little flame wars back and forth and little interviews here and there, or tweets on Twitter X. Maybe they actually put them all in the same room and hash it all out. I think that would be healthy, and let everybody get a perspective on that. So we shall see. Okay, here's something I was concerned about, the false flags, because Thomas Massey here is saying, this is not our war. We should not engage our military here. Doing so would require a vote of Congress. But I'm also saying, yeah, beware of the false flags too. Whether it's, Lusitania, Pearl Harbor, Gulf of Tonkin, and so many others, 9/11 or what have you, there's always something that changes public opinion very quickly and gets them to support a war, no matter how unpopular it is in the beginning. Here's a good tweet from Luke Radowski from our classic Twilight Zone, Rod Serling here. Imagine, if you will, Iran, a country just days from having a nuke since 1992. And here's another one for Back to the Future. Yeah, are we going to fall for this one again? Iraq has WMDs from good old George W. And then now you get Trump saying Iran has WMDs. Of course, Marty McFly. Yeah, we've seen this movie before. How does this one end? Not well. Let's go to another one. Here it is. Glenn Greenwald talking. You can spend literally 40 years falsely warning the world that Iran is months or weeks away from obtaining a nuclear weapon. But the minute it's used as a pretext to start a war, many Americans will say, good, Iran was just weeks away from getting nukes. It's crazy, isn't it? 40 years and you're still falling for the same story. They just don't pay attention. It's crazy. I think we actually have some is there old video from
quote the most here on Iraq, waiting for it to be
and they're 70% of the way there. Now they're well into the second stage. And by next spring, at most by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks.
And for those of you,
okay, I thought there was like an old piece from back in the 90s before his hair turned gray. But that's how long Bibi Netanyahu has been warning the United States about how we have to get into war with Iran. So, let's see. We've got Trump's, another one from Greenwald here, saying that Trump's DNI, as in Tulsi Gabbard, said Iran has a nuclear energy program, but is not seeking nukes. So they just look at it as energy. Instead of coal plants, they'll have a nuclear power plant that'll be more energy efficient for its people, and they're not using it to make weapons. But it says Trump spent the week before Israel's attack talking to Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, and Netanyahu, and all the Israel First neocons who lied that Saddam had WMDs and was seeking nukes and got swayed. It's a tough position. Who is the real MAGA? And who has the real influence here? It's going to be a big purity test. But it's unfortunate that Trump got played by a lot of these neocons in the first Trump administration. And unfortunately, we're seeing the same thing happen here again. Unless, I don't know, this is 5D chess and he's just keeping his enemies closer. I don't know. But to shun Tucker and embrace Hannity and Levin is not a good idea. If not, again, I think they should just set it up to where they can have the debate, do it televised for the United States to see. We all deserve to know and to maybe pick a side based on making more informed decision. But we'll see. JD Vance sounded off on this. Interesting. I don't know, this is a lot of text here. He says, yes, he's looking from the inside. He's admittedly biased towards the president, but there is a lot of crazy stuff on social media. He said, Trump has been consistent over 10 years that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And he has encouraged his foreign policy to reach a deal with the Iranians. The president has made it clear they cannot have uranium enrichment. It could be the easy way or the hard way. And then there's the confusion over whether they're using it for civilian nuclear power or if they're using it for weapons. There's not a lot of, not seeing good arguments for why they needed to enrich uranium. This scientific stuff is a little out of my league. I couldn't tell you how legit it is. But if they're going to want to, if they're going to be preemptively attacking another country, as Israel did, I would like a little bit more proof that they were really imminently doing something and that there was no other reasonable solution before I'm going to join your side on that. So Vance, he's the VP, but he's saying the president has earned some trust and that he's interested in the American military to accomplish American goals, and that should be his focus. He's going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Here's the WikiLeaks post that made quite a bit of a number of waves, 3 million views. U.S. intelligence is assessing that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon. And they've been monitoring them since 2003. Okay. Oh, you got even Bernie Sanders. Netanyahu started this war by attacking Iran. And he assassinated Ali Shamkhani. I don't know how to pronounce that. Ali S. will say, Iran's lead nuclear negotiator, deliberately sabotaging U.S.-Iran nuclear negotiations. The U.S. must not be dragged into another illegal Netanyahu war, either militarily or financially. One of the rare times I do agree with Bernie Sanders here. Good thing. Health Ranger Mike Adams putting down kind of a playbook of how it's all going to go down, saying that, and here's his predictions. In the weeks ahead, U.S. intelligence in Israel will carry out a false flag attack on a base or the USS Nimitz. I believe that is a battleship, but it's a big ship, and it's almost like 50 years old. So it's on the verge. It's going to be decommissioned, I think, next year because it's too old. So it makes it a prime target for something that they'd probably save more money by having it destroyed than they could blame it on Iran and then get plenty of sympathy from America to support the war that they wanted to begin with all along. So the corporate media and the pro-Israel shills on social media will decry the act of violence and call for the U.S. to wage war in retaliation. Trump will dive in, doing the bidding of his Zionist masters. Many people are criticizing him for being, puppeteered by Bibi and so many of these influential Zionists in the cabinet. Now, he did get rid of Michael Waltz and his assistant, which was probably a good thing. That was because they were, too cozy with Netanyahu and trying to, preemptively strike Iran. That's what I thought. And then they still went ahead and did it anyway. But now we're supporting this. They want Trump to authorize the bunker buster bombs so that they can finish off whatever other nuclear program threat that they think they have. Who knows? Again, I could be wrong. I'd love to have more proof. I'd be very happy to change my opinion if we can all believe that Iran is just do a simple regime change. That they definitely did it. They're a threat, and we can focus on taking them out. The whole world agrees. It's obvious, and we're the best equipped to make it happen. That would be different. I'd love to sway my opinion on that, but no, I just it's a leap of faith on a tired old script. So let me get back to the topics at hand. So, should we assist Israel in its battle against Iran? I would say absolutely not. Unless they can show us proof. I would say this is a very bad idea and it's not going to work out well. But I could be wrong. So let's get to the next topic. Mass murder of citizens. Is that the Iranian game plan? Very audacious tweet here from AIPAC saying mass murder of civilians is Iran's strategy. And preventing this vicious regime from having a nuclear weapon is a necessity for Israel and the world. Now, I don't trust their regime, this wacky religious theocracy. These fundamentalist radicals. Doesn't sound like a good idea. And if that's something that we could arrange, then yeah, let's try to prevent that. But I don't know what the intelligence says, or if they were actually going to use them as soon as they make them, just because they have some suicide pact with taking out Israel, and then realizing the whole world is going to turn against you if you actually unleash a nuclear weapon. But that takes a lot of time, not only to make enough of them, test them. They've never even gotten very far with any of that. So you got to be able to deploy it. Like there's so much that goes into it, and they can't ever get their nuclear program off the ground because they're constantly being attacked. But, okay. But then, who's the real good guy here? And this is an odd tweet that AIPAC would put this out, because are they just completely oblivious to the fact that they wiped out nearly 60,000 people dead since October 7th? And it's sickening to watch so many of the people that support this regime just completely not just leave this out like it didn't happen. It's horrific. 60,000 innocent people, and there's still people starving. They're stopping aid, and who knows what those final numbers are going to be like. And then you're going to criticize anybody else for using civilian casualties. I mean, I'm sorry. There's such a wild disconnect with some of these people. They don't see their opposition as even human. It's pretty sickening. Here's a tweet from Jimmy Dore. Israel complaining Iran is targeting civilian infrastructure Here's what it's done to Gaza. I mean, this is gone. And they'll never rebuild this because they'll never allow them to have the raw materials to build anyway. They'll say, oh, they're just going to use it for creating bombs or something. I mean, this is, yeah, look at that little flight over Gaza, what's left of it. Completely devastated. But they want to lecture us. They're somehow the moral high ground. Interesting tweet here, another one from Glenn Greenwald. So Mossad headquarters, because people were complaining, oh, they're firing missiles into Tel Aviv, which is a major city, and there's casualties there. But I guess there's also this is the big irony, because Israel could just commit war crimes everywhere. They can blow up mosques and schools and hospitals. And it's always, oh, it was, Hamas had a headquarters there. They were storing weapons. They're always justified. They never do anything wrong. Oh, they blew up a van full of journalists and aid workers. Oh, but one of them was Hamas. It's always something. They can never take blame for anything. It's absolutely sickening. But apparently, yeah, the Mossad headquarters is in Tel Aviv in a populated area. They also have strategic, military assets that are in these civilian areas. So they're being targeted by Iran. So it's not like Iran is necessarily, not that I expect them to be like these great humanitarians and care. But I mean, how do you target Mossad if they're in a civilian area, but you're not supposed to target civilians? It's a weird double standard. Obviously, none of this would have happened if Bibi could have just stopped doing anything. It seemed like things were fine a couple of weeks ago. Even though they've exchanged fire back and forth, it wasn't too bad, and there weren't a lot of casualties. It was just attacking a few military targets, old technology. But things have amplified significantly. And Iran has also used some hypersonic missiles. So I don't know what they're so worried about the nuclear weapons. It seems like the hypersonic missiles would be more dangerous. But what do I know? I don't know. So, but they're criticizing that. Note how CNN strongly suggests Iran has no right to hit Mossad because they might endanger Israeli civilians used as shields. So anyway, it's hard to say. It's really hard to pick sides. War is awful. And you know what? You could probably, I think that's all I've got on that one. Mass murder of citizens is the Iranian game plan? No, I don't believe that. Many people do believe if they get a nuclear weapon, that's the first thing they're going to do is they're going to wipe out Israel. And then I guess that's a suicide mission. Because if they did that, the whole world would condemn them and destroy them. But that's used as the pretext here. So we're going to have to attack them because they might attack us someday. Something like that. Actually, it seems more like Israel's problem. And they got a right to exist, and they should defend themselves, and they shouldn't be looking to us. They should be starting a war and then expecting. It's like your buddy going in and starting a bar fight, and then expecting you to have his back when he was in the wrong. Anyway, what was the next topic? It should be easy to create regime change in Iran. I am going to say no, emphatically. There's another tweet from myself saying Israel and Iran could both use a regime change. Maybe we could put Bibi and Khamenei in adjacent cells. Must-see TV. Wouldn't that be cool? If we could arrest both of these guys. Khamenei and Bibi. Put them in the ICC, at the Hague, whatever, and then meanwhile, put them on TV, and they're going to be in cells next to each other so they can communicate. I think that would be fantastic. And I think the world would be better off. But, I'm dreaming here. But it's a good thought. Thought I would share that. As far as regime change in Iran, it did not go so hot the first time that they tried to do that. In fact, there's a rich history in Iran, without even getting back into the old Persia stuff. But I mean, just in the last 100 years, and with Western intervention. So it's a lot of it was the British Empire. Well, actually, that's kind of after that fact there, but British colonizing have been in Iran for a while, and in China. Yeah, they've been meddled in a lot of countries for a long time. But without getting into too much of this stuff, but they knew that it was oil. Once we realized that oil had a lot of value, get to turn to a country like Iran, make deals, trade deals. But it didn't go well. So the Iran, they had a popular guy, a populist, Mohammad Mossadegh, who was appointed the prime minister, and he nationalized the country's oil industry. And it brought a very westernized culture to Iran. So 50s Iran looked in some ways similar to 50s in America. Until Great Britain, and later also recruiting the United States, decided to take over and change the foreign policy. And yes, Mossadegh, who was Time Magazine's Man of the Year in 1952, was overthrown and imprisoned in 1953, and spent the rest of his life under house arrest before dying of cancer. Many of his associates, who were also democratically elected by the people of Iran, were tortured and executed. It was the CIA-installed government which reversed Mossadegh's oil nationalization and banned his political party from the 1954 elections. The Shah's rule, backstopped by Western governments, became increasingly oppressive and violent. And after, what is this, almost 25 years of horrible authoritarian rule by the Shah, the people of Iran even had to reluctantly overthrow their Shah and embrace the Islamic theocracy from Khomeini. So, yeah, this is a lot of us was brought on by ourselves, trying to exploit the population with some cheap resources. We overthrew their democratically elected guys, somebody they like. Imagine if another country just overthrew Trump and installed, I don't know, whatever, just some brutal dictator. How would we feel? So, it's not gone well. Those people have suffered tremendously, and I'm sure they would absolutely love to get rid of the hellhole they have. Get rid of the Ayatollah. But what are they going to replace it with? And is the West actually going to replace this with something good? How has that worked out anywhere else? Let's take another look at this. There's a great tweet from Dr. Simon Godek. So 70 years ago, yes, Iran looked like any Western country, open universities, rock and roll. They put in Mossadegh, he nationalizes oil. Then they throw a coup. Operation Ajax, install the Shah, secret police, torture. Iran turns into a puppet state. They turn to Khomeini, an exiled cleric, promising independence. They have the Islamic Revolution in 1979, the hostage crisis. Then they even we even armed Saddam Hussein with weapons so that they could take on Iran in a proxy war. A million Iranians die. let's see. Fast forward to today. Yeah, I'm not even getting into the minefields and the air flights and so many other problems. So now they're saying, oh yeah, now this is all a good thing. We're attacking Iran because we just want them to have some good leadership. Really? Should they trust us with any of that? Good tweet from Sobek, Jack Poso here, saying the regime change scorecard. These the recent one. You had Iraq, did not go so well with the. We take out their leaders and replace them with something worse. So you replace Saddam, you get some other radical jihadis that fill the power vacuum. Syria, we got rid of Assad, and now we got crazy ISIS fundamentalists there. Got Afghanistan, Taliban won, they got our equipment, and they're still back in power. Libya overthrew Gaddafi, then we had Benghazi, refugees flooding Europe. Got Ukraine, war and death over there as well. So yeah, our track record of regime change usually does not go well. In fact, I don't think there's one example of where the country ended up benefiting. So, bad stuff. Okay, well, here we go. Back to the topics. It should be easy to create regime change in Iran. No, those people would have zero reason to trust us. In fact, I got one more tweet. It's me calling out Glenn Beck again. I doubt any country wants the U.S. or Israel to assist them with regime change, especially Iran, after we overthrew Mossadegh and replaced him with the Shah. How did that work out? Yeah, it all sounds good, and they're putting out these talking points. Both Glenn Beck and his associate Dave Rubin. Oh yeah, this is going to be a good thing. They're going to embrace us. They're going to bring the people freedom. The government is simply uniquely evil. And they're trying to kill everybody, and we're the great. We're the good guys, or not. Okay. Well, what else do we have? So yeah, regime change, couldn't trust it. So further war escalation will divide MAGA in. We'll just say split it. I don't know how many pieces it's going to be. But yeah, it's very divided. There's a lot of infighting now. We're going to picking sides. So who is the real MAGA? Will the real MAGAs stand up? Do they stand for America First? Or do they stand for invading another country? Do they vote for more World War? Let's get. Here we go. Here's MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think everyone is finding out who are the real America First MAGA and who were fake and just said it because it was popular. Now we're seeing a lot of people, and the masks are off. We're seeing the true colors. Who wants to take us to war? Who wants us to stay out of it? Saw that was with the bill too. The Massies, the Rand Pauls. And now you got this going on with Candace or Tucker, MTG. Many people picking sides now. And there's a lot of people that are compromised. A lot of people are, I don't know if they're taking money from either Israel or they're taking money from Qatar. I don't know. There's a lot of people pointing fingers. So it's getting spicy. But MTG is saying, unfortunately, the list of fakes are becoming quite long and expose themselves quickly. That anyone slobbering for the U.S. to become fully involved in the Israel-Iran war is not America First. Wishing for the murder of innocent people is disgusting. We're sick of tired of foreign wars. And this one will quickly engulf the Middle East, BRICS, and NATO as countries are required to take a side. It says real America first, and MAGA wants world peace for all people and doesn't want our military killed and forever injured physically and mentally. We love our military and want them to secure our borders, defending our people and our country. Whereas we've spent trillions in the Middle East and have dealt with the aftermath of death and debt and suicides, PTSD, all because the war propagandists, told us why we must sacrifice our own to defend some other country's borders. So that's another thing. I mean, it's not us. It's not like we're under attack. It's Israel. And it's their problem, and it's their leadership. It's Bibi Netanyahu who decided on his own to go do this. Supposedly, they worked this out with Trump behind the scenes. I don't know if that's true or if they're just saying that. But either way, we're now involved. So, here we go. Yeah, none of us want to see this stuff happen. We're $36 trillion in debt and have mountains of our own problems. But of course, people are either being called isolationists. I don't know. So that's one definition. MAGA First from MTG. Or we can contrast that with the neocons, the Mark Levin, saying this is the MAGA foreign policy. He's so tired of the isolationists barking about the old and failed foreign policy of the past and insisting that they've uncovered the secret new way forward, isolationism. Says there's nothing, I can't even do that voice, it's hurting my throat. Says there's nothing new or good about isolationism, which, in a word, is appeasement. It's old and promotes war, such as World War II. So, that's this is the neocons. Make America Great, which, I don't know, that sounds totally different than what our forefathers would say. Is staying out of foreign conflicts. That's not our problem. So I think he's absolutely wrong here. We could argue, World War II was a noble cause. Yeah, I mean, the Führer was committing atrocities and was stirring shit up all over Europe. Was into world domination. Versus Iran, which may have a weapons program that they're slowly developing, and we're supposed to believe that they were imminently going to be on the verge of having one and going to attack, so that we have to attack them first because they might get a nuclear weapon someday. That's the justification. I don't know. So, Mark Levin saying these knuckleheads can't even coherently explain what they mean. Have you watched them on TV? They're too self-righteous in their ignorance to realize how absurd they sound. You know what? For all the years I've seen Mark Levin, I have never once seen him engage in a debate with somebody. They've never pushed back on Mark Levin, ever. I would like to see that, whether it's Tucker Carlson, Glenn Greenwald, there's many voices, Candace Owens. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting people. And and I think we owe it to America to see these debates with these top minds. Now, Mark Levin, apparently, with Hannity, has the ear of Trump, and they're listening to him. Who's, to me, somebody who's more interested, he's an Israel first guy over America first. And there's always standing up. It's always Israel, Israel, Israel. I've got Israel fatigue. A lot of us do. He's getting absolutely roasted on Twitter. It's been interesting to see that. His falling out, his fall from grace. But he's still strong on Fox. But it's still, you get that with all the old boomers that still believe the war propaganda. But again, maybe he's right. I would just like to see if he's so confident about that, maybe he should. All right, how about Comic Dave Smith? There's another good one. Yeah, well, we've got the dividing lines on what MAGA is and isn't. So, and Mark Levin, another thing, was a never Trump neocon, along with Shapiro and so many of these other people. So it's like as long as he's on board with with protecting Israel, they're all good. Then they're MAGA. But if not, yeah, he's constantly he's having a meltdown somewhere. Says, in fact, they're so blind and self-important they don't see with a new foreign policy taking place in real time. That's the mindset of ideological fanatics. It's like sounds like projection. Like he's fanatic for Israel, Zionist zealot. Saying Trump and Bibi are together demonstrating how to deal with a genocidal terrorist regime, how to use diplomacy and military power. Speaking of genocidal terrorist regime, what do we think about those 55,000 people who were killed in Gaza in the last, 10 months? 8 months? 8 months. I don't even remember when did 10/7 happen? Am I already forgetting this? Or was it the year before? I don't know. Feels like this has been going on longer than that. So I don't even know. I even got my years screwed up. What do I know? When did 10/7? I'm gonna look this up. 10/7 Wikipedia. Can I just find this quickly? I guess not. In real time. Don't know. I'll get back to this. Maybe I should run a video. We'll run one for here's speaking of Dave Smith. First, Dave Smith was for Trump. Now he wants Trump impeached. There's another divide here between Dave Smith and Dinesh D'Souza. Does he wonder what Trump, who hasn't changed one bit, makes of these pseudo-MAGAs? It's like trying to appease a schizophrenic and one who keeps accusing you of having multiple personalities. So let's check out Dave, as he seems to be breaking from MAGA in real time.
It was in 2007 that the Pentagon told George W. Bush that we cannot go to war with Iran because we do not have escalation dominance against them, essentially meaning that they can hit all of our bases and embassies in the region, and we are very vulnerable to them. And we've already seen demonstrated since the Israeli attack that the Iranian, the missiles that they sent last year toward Israel, as many of us guessed, that wasn't really their best. They were intentionally making an attack that wouldn't really hurt anybody, that wouldn't really lead to a war, which Iran has done over and over again. But now we've pushed them to the point where they probably don't feel that they have the option not to respond. And Donald Trump telling them to come back to the negotiating table now is a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, what a impotent leader to be sitting there talking about coming back to the negotiating table. It's like sitting after Pearl Harbor and telling FDR, now's the time to go negotiate with the Japanese.
Right.
Negotiations are over now. The time for negotiations was before this. And so, yeah, Donald Trump looks, and man, I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one.
Well, Dave, what are we supposed to do? Who are we supposed to vote for? I guess that's the question, too. A lot of people are criticizing, oh, you guys should have seen this coming all along. How did you not know? Trump's the bad guy. They're all bad. There was no one to vote. Maybe the vote for Chase Oliver, Libertarians, Nikki Haley, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. Who are we supposed to side with? There are no good guys. Yeah, October 7th was 2023. So it's been over a year now, year and a half. So I should have known, but yeah, it's who knows? Seems like it's been going on a while. I've already forgotten. News cycle moves so fast. And it's just a problem that won't go away. And yeah, you approach 55,000 dead. That's what I do know over that course. Have they gotten what they wanted? Yeah, they got to retaliate, but they went too far. They pushed a genocide, and now they want to start a war with Iran. And now we've got MAGA divided. Now Dave has also called for the impeachment of Trump. Then what do we do? It's the problem. You can see Dave Smith or David Icke is another one. I mean, all they do is they criticize the people in charge. But then, what are people supposed to do? They're all just supposed to sit around a campfire and sing Kumbaya and just expect, magical thinking that everything's going to go away. Don't know who would be. If it's not Trump, then there's no hope. It's all gone. It's an interesting tweet here put out by Cernovich. Good call, saying if you don't believe that Iran is 2 weeks away from having a nuke, then you're pro-Iran. You're probably being paid by Qatar, and you don't understand America first, unlike those who were never Trump in 2016. Yeah, you're seeing a lot of that. There's a lot of these people that are just pro-Israel, and if you are not on their side, then you're either pro-Hamas, or you're a Jew hater, or you support Iran, or you're being paid by Qatar. Like, it's getting ridiculous now. It's such a mess. The civilization unravels. And we might be heading for the end. It's getting exciting, though. Another tweet from Candace saying Israel has lost the propaganda war. No one believes Iranians are writing letters begging to be bombed, or that this war is about anything other than Israel's imperialism. Send your own sons and daughters. Yeah, because they're trying to use it. They're trying to pose as the good guys. You got Bibi Netanyahu trying to say, "Hey, we're doing Iran a favor. We're doing your people a favor. We take out your radical fundamentalist crazy leadership. You're all going to be better off. You should embrace us. Just get out of the way." You can trust Bibi. Maybe, or probably not. I would not trust anything from Bibi. But anyway, yes, because Tucker and Steve Bannon talking about the end of the American empire. If we get dragged into a war, it'll be the end of Trump's presidency. It'll be the end of his legacy. But again, what were the options? Who should we have taken? Kind of the screwed no matter what, I suppose. Okay, what else? More divide. You got Laura Loomer, who I try to like, but man, when she starts talking about Israel, she sounds like she's an operative. Like Mike Adams called her out the other day. Sounds like she's in Mossad or something. Something is off, like Shapiro. And they can't be honest about the actual situation, the reality there in the Middle East. It's always the flaming Zionist zealot side. So she's now saying she's called on her followers to take screenshots of every single right-winger who is shit-talking Trump right now as the MAGA civil war brews over Trump's response to the conflict. So, yeah, again, the divide. Now we're doing the purity test here to see who's the real MAGA, who is not. And you're gonna take note. We're gonna get the receipts, and we're gonna shame those people for years to come. Those who didn't just fall on their knees and accept whatever Trump wanted to do. And I love Trump. I back up Trump, but I'm not just going to go along with anything that he says. I'm not a cult follower, nor should anybody be a cult follower. In fact, speaking of Mike Adams, there's a great tweet. What do you know? For those saying current events are a loyalty test to find out who's loyal to Trump, I say if you were ever loyal to any man, you're a fool. You should be loyal to principles. And you should only support men or women who themselves are loyal to those principles. So, Trump follows the principles he claimed to support: peace, transparency, accountability. He has my full support. If he abandons them, then he earns my criticism. This is the only intellectually honest way to interact with the political world. Like Laura Loomer there, and so many others. The cat turds, the Vince Langmans, and the Brendan Dillies, and so many who I think are probably on some kind of a payroll. Might be grifters one way or another. They're mad. If you don't go 100% along with whatever Trump does, you're, I guess, anti-MAGA. You're an extremist. You're bad. You need to be shunned. I think that's all I've got on that one. So I guess that was kind of a two-parter. Further war escalation will divide MAGA in pieces. Yes, it's already happening. We've got two sides now. Are you for or against the war? And MAGA and America First, or whatever Trump says. I guess that could be one of it. That's what somebody said. That's what Trump says. And he started it. It's his. But I agree with Mike Adams there. I think it's more on principles than it is on an individual. So, alrighty. So what else do we have? That's it. We got the last one. The one non-Iranian issue. It's communist Chinese. Did they interfere with the 2020 election? Well, looks that way. This is a breaking story. This has happened over the last couple of days. So they're just kind of declassifying this information now. It looks like, we've questioned these mail-in ballots and so many other things that went wrong with the 2020 election. It was anything but the most safe and secure election ever. Now you've got Kash Patel, been criticized a lot. I think he's done a pretty good job. I got my faith in Kash. And if we don't, then I don't know who we're going to replace him with. But he is doing some good stuff, saying the right things. Now he's declassifying a report on alleged Chinese interference in the 2020 election. So they've turned over the documents to Chuck Grassley. And hopefully we'll get some answers. But I don't really have anything of substance so far. But yeah, I think I would agree. There's something. In fact, I even did a report way back in those times that I thought that the CCP was going to collude with the deep state to overthrow the election. But maybe that was a good thing. 2020. And then we got to see Biden, the puppet presidency. We got to see the deep state Democrats and the never Trump neocons exposed in a whole new way. And then we got Trump set up for 2024 with the Republican House, the Senate, but and of course the Supreme Court. And yet they're finding a way to mess things up right now. This is a divided time. Very unfortunate. Barely at the 6-month point of this administration. Started out really strong. And then things have soured a bit. And now we're on the edge of World War III. We've already got Trump talking to Iran as the unconditional surrender. Or else what? Beware of false flags. Some base is going to get hit, and before we get to see the evidence of what happened, we're already involved in another foreign conflict. After living through Iraq and Afghanistan, I am not looking forward to seeing any more of this. I can only imagine how bad it's going to be with Iran this time around. We've seen this script before, hoping we could avoid it, but here we are. So it should be interesting. All right. Well, I think that's all I've got today. Oh, got good timing on this one. One subject, but a big one. So, thank you all for joining me here today. And please like and subscribe. Look forward to covering the new developments. That'll be we're going to do a show tonight, Toxically Masculine Tuesday. That should be a banger. Mike Barra is not feeling well, but I think he's going to power through. And then with Dr. Brooks Agnew and Trail Boss Steve Doran. So it should be a very exciting edition of Toxically Masculine Tuesday. Perhaps the best roundtable on the net, along with myself. It's at 9 o'clock Eastern time, and then I'll be back Thursday, normal time, 4 o'clock Eastern. Today's show was late because I had some other stuff to do. But anyway, we got through it, and I'm glad we did. So thank you all, and we'll do it all again next time. But that's all I have for this episode. Thank you very much. Love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Take care. I'm out.